Can you mute?
Okay. I think we can start properly.
So you can continue.
So, as I was saying earlier on, let's look at the overview of the syllabus
Shona, it's
so
a
that
class.
we
I didn't
know.
register.
Lillian and Samsung. I don't know who you guys are. You are distracting us. So please, so I've made some persons hosts. You can remove anybody who is disturbing the class, please.
I think,
Those are your
sir, the
responsibilities.
best thing is to mute everybody. If you want to enjoy this, mute them
So,
and create a time for questions, sir. Please mute everybody from your end.
so Mr. Abraham, you can mute everybody as a host. Just mute everybody. Just go click on that three dots. You'll be able to mute everybody.
Looking for the
So continue the class. Continue the class.
friends. Okay, so let's proceed. I can't find that option for now. Maybe later as we proceed. Okay, so for the people that are just joining this stage, that are taking it for the first time, you are welcome. And for the people that due to one or two reasons they couldn't make it, that's right, you're also welcome. I pray and I hope that this will be the last time you are writing SFM, which means by the end of the diet, we have a good news. Everybody on this call is going to be writing this diet. Okay, so as usual, we pray that Almighty God make it easy for every one of us writing the diet. So let's look at the overview of the ICANN SFM. So we have SFM. We normally classify or categorize the syllabus into 5 aspects. So the first aspect, which I will call aspect A, is the business analysis aspect of the syllabus. Okay, which is allocated mark for this aspect is 30% of the whole mark we have for the course. Okay, so the second aspect, which is let me say the B aspect, is the financial analysis. Okay, analysis. This aspect is 25% of the syllabus. Okay, so as we move on, I'm going to break down or list the topics under each of these category of the syllabus. Okay, so the third aspect, in no particular order, is the merger and acquisition. If I'm right, I guess last diet question number 1 was from this aspect of the syllabus. Okay, and the fourth aspect is the forex. I don't still know why most students believe this aspect of the syllabus is hard, but I don't think it's really the easiest actually. Looking at what came out last night, shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to solve that question in under an exam condition actually. So we have forex. Okay, we have forex. Then the last aspect of the syllabus is also 15% of the syllabus. So we have the theory aspect. Okay, the theory aspects. So let's look at them one after the other as we bring out the topics under each category. So business analysis, you have topics like business valuation. Okay, for an exam, what and what do you need to know? That evaluation is actually the methods of valuing business. That's one of the major things you need to know for exam purpose. The methods, if you ask to use any of these methods to value business, how do you go about each of them? The principle under each, these are the things you need to know. However, as we all know that after qualify as a professional colleague, which is a ICAM member, we work in organizations and some people actually working right now. So you need more than just the method, you need the reason, purpose, and the likes. So when we get to that topics, whoever that is taking it will guide us on how to go about those methods. We have methods like meta set and co. Okay, another major aspect of this business evaluation or business analysis is actually the what we call capital budgeting. Capital budgeting. I guess last night question number 3 was capital budgeting MPV to precise. So as you can see, when you had 20 mark question, definitely before you can do merger and acquisition, you have to know how to value a business. So indirectly, if you look at you dissect or you analyze last night's question, SFM question, you will discover that examiner try their best to make sure they touch each of these category of the syllabus. So we have capital budgeting, which some textbooks call investment appraisal techniques. Okay, here also we have what we call capital rationing. Capital rationing. Okay, so capital budgeting is all about when there is cash in a company, probably there is a profit or a company plans to raise capital. You don't just raise that capital and keep it. You are going to invest those funds into a viable project. So that's where the knowledge of capital budgeting comes in. So, be it the traditional method or the non-traditional method, which is the modern method. So, for example, purpose, what we actually need to know under this topic is the method of appraising projects or investment, which include MPV, IIR, APV, and co. So, those methods, you have to understand the principle, the templates, then how to go about each of them. As importantly, the decision, how to make decision under each of these methods. Okay. Then under capital rationing, what you want to learn here is actually the situation whereby yes, you have viable projects. Viable projects are projects that when you go into them, you are going to be making profit. You won't run into loss. So when you have more than one viable project in a company, and you have limitation in your capital, there is definitely resource is scarce. So the capital available may not be enough to carry out those viable projects. So because of that, you need to bring in the knowledge of capital rationing. You rationalize your capital so that you go with the one that is actually bringing higher profits based on probably capitality method, another method of getting that. Okay, so also under this aspect, we have what we call forecasting. So forecasting is about you trying to prepare budget. So what we're saying here is that the examiner can actually ask you to prepare forecast, which include the PON, the SOFP, and the likes. Okay. Also here, let me bring out this topic. We call it international investment appraiser. Okay. So just a minute, please. If you know your mic is, can the code just help me mute some people? Because I'm not actually comfortable with this.
Sir, maybe you mute everybody. Mute everybody.
No, let's just have a rule. Anybody that your mic is on and we can see that you are disturbing the class, we remove you from the class. This is an adult class, please. I think I'm doing that from my end. I don't know why some people will be behaving as if today decided using Zoom. You are in a class. Even when you are speaking, you should be able to hear what you are saying, that definitely your mic is on. You don't need to be saying this every time. Some people are not able to join this call. Later, they will listen to this video. Is it your voice that they want to hear? That your screen is not even related to what we are doing here. Please, let's behave kind of put in some level of maturity in whatever way. Thank you. So let's proceed. So another aspect here is international investment appraiser. I don't know if my handwriting has been a while since last diet. Okay, so this topic is all about, it's actually you carrying out investment appraising a project or investment to know maybe it's viable or not. But the difference between this and capital budgeting is that here now, maybe you are a multinational company, you need to import raw material from outside your country and the likes, or you sell goods to other countries. As we all know what's going on in the country now, the value of our currency keep on depreciating, which is not actually good when you compare to USD, which is dollar. So all those stuff now, you have to have that knowledge here, so that if you are lucky to work in a multinational company, you should be able to know how this thing affects the performance of your business, how to convert currency from one currency to another when you're doing data appraiser. Okay. So another aspect of this topic is what we call sensitivity analysis. Okay, so it's a very important of the aspect of the syllabus, in the sense that sometimes it's come on its own, sometimes you will see it with all these investment appraiser topics. One of this topic is that the fact that a project is viable based on the method is probably MPVIR. You still need to know the level of variance you may accept. When I say variance, probably increase in cost of the raw material or decrease in revenue. The level that you can accept that will still make the project be viable or break even. If it is cost, we want to know how much increase can we take in cost of probably raw materials, labor, and the likes, that will still allow the investment to be viable. If it is selling price or revenue, you want to know how much decrease can we actually take that will still enable the project to be viable. So it is one of the major tools that we need to use when performing investment appraisal, so that we know that, okay, whatever happen, if the variance is still within a particular range, the project will still be viable. It's very important. So these are the topics. Okay, then we have what we call bond valuation too. Okay, bond valuation, which I believe you are done with. So bond valuation is also under this analysis. Although you may still come across this under source of finance, under financial analysis, but based on the syllabus, this is the way you need to do bond valuation. Thank God you are done with this aspect of the topic, bond valuation. So it's actually you investing in bond, or you want to raise capital via a bond, which some people refer to as debt or loan. Okay, so for example purpose, you have to learn how to calculate the value of a bond, market value of the bond, the cost of the bond, which sometimes refers to as YTM or GRY, alcoholic duration, and number of bonds you're able to buy with the amount available. So those are the things you need to learn under bond valuation. Okay, so let's move to the other aspect of the syllabus, which is the financial analysis. Here you have topics like sources of finance. Okay, so definitely you need to know the source of finance. So here, for example, we want to know what are the source of finance for financing a project or a company. So it means what are the ways you can get capital to fund your business or an investment. Majorly is equity and debt, but you have other sources. Okay, so here too you need to learn what we call cost of capital, which is a major topic this night. So cost of capital is all about the cost, the minimum return fund provider will be expecting you to give them. So that's the meaning of cost of capital. So here you want to learn the cost of different sorts of finance, like cost of debt, cost of equity, preference shares, and the likes. Then also the weighted average cost of capital, like what do you need to use when you have more than one source of finance available to the company. Probably debt, cost of debt is 10%, equity is maybe 15%. So you need to know which rates should you use. Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it you take the average of them? So definitely that's what I want to learn under this topic, which is the right rate to use to appraise, to discount your investment. Okay, so cost of capital, which we reverse to as weighted average cost of capital here, which is known as WACC. So also we have topics like adjusted WACC. Okay, adjusted WACC. So adjusted WACC is just as the name implies, you want to adjust the WACC. So what you're saying here is that definitely what normally bring about this is this. When you are into one line of business, you face a particular risk for that line of business. Then when you now plan to move to another line of business that is not the same with the current line of business the company is into, probably let's for example now you are into let's say you're into manufacturing, okay, of a particular, let's say probably you manufactures what do they call this? Is it hamper or what? Okay, a baby diaper, what they call it, you manufacture that, you produce that. The risk you face in that line of business is not the same thing when you are into transportation or agriculture. Okay, so when you now want to add a new line of business to the current business you are doing, because the business risk will not be the same, so you need to adjust your work to now the cost of capital to use, you need to adjust it to factor in the new business risk in the new line of business. Okay, and the same thing is applicable when you are into maybe probably into like 4 different type of business before, then you want to drop one, you want to discontinue one. Okay, so you need to also know how to adjust your work to shows the current business risk that faces what you are doing. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Okay, and then you have to also consider you want to finance the project or the new line of business. So that's what we refer to as adjusted WACC, and we also call this project specific cost of capital or what we call beta factor in SFM. Okay, we also call this beta factor. Beta factor. So we call it beta factor. So don't be surprised when you see different texts using different names. We are saying the same thing. Okay, so also here we need to learn what we call dividend policy. Dividend policy is all about, we all know the meaning of dividend, right? Dividend is the return required by equity holders, shareholders. Okay. Return required by equity holder, which is shareholders. So dividend policy of a company need to be taken care of in the sense that what we want to learn based on example. For example, what we want to learn is that we want to learn, okay, what level of dividend should be paid out if two companies pay the same level of dividend. Does it have effect on their part and shareholders behavior? So what we want to see is that the whole story here is just that if you are a company is paying higher dividend, okay, probably out of your profit, you pay 70% as dividend. It means yes, you want to satisfy shareholders so that you want them to have what's called purchasing power. But indirectly, what you're doing, the money you need to retain to reinvest in other viable business, you are reducing that money, the cash. Then the implication is that if you really want to go into the new business, it means you need to go and source for other more capital or more fund, which once you're sourcing for fund, there is always a price to pay, which is the cost of capital. Okay, that's what we want to see. What's the effect if you are paying higher dividend or you are paying lower dividend? Okay, so depending on the type of shareholders you actually have. Okay, so that's the story about this. Okay, then we also have what we reverse to CAPM and portfolio. CAPM and portfolio theory. Okay, portfolio theory. So what we want to learn here, for example, what they're saying here is that you just want to know the approach CAPM to risk and that of the portfolio to risk. So CAPM, which refers to as capital asset pricing model, is actually all about a model of a risk-based model, okay, of calculating returns. So definitely when there is risk, there's going to be a return. So some people say the higher the higher return. It depends on what you're doing. It's not always the case. So the portfolio theory, we want to look at how to value a portfolio or pool of investment using CAPM and using portfolio theory. So they are not the same thing. Okay, it's actually the risk approach that is different. So that's what I want to learn here. Okay, so also under this financial analysis, we need to learn topics like leverage. Leverage is all about gearing level, the amount of debt you have in your business, the amount of uh, uh, equity you have in your business. Okay, is the company highly gear or not? All those stuff. Then also, then what we call capital structure. So capital structure theory uh, is all about whether the company should source for capital, capital via equity or via debt. But according to the theory here, my name, Mina Moligliner, they said, okay, go and add debt up to 99% of your capital structure so that all you know that the cost of debt is actually cheap, and aside that, interest that you'll be paying on debt is tax allowable expense. So that's their own belief. Okay. So the whole story here, all you need to learn is that a company should design their capital structure, that is the combination of debt and equity, in a way that is going to be the optimum capital structure. Because at the optimum level, the company will be able to maximize their market value and minimize the cost of capital. Okay, so these are the topics we need to learn under this aspect of the syllabus. Okay, then here we have merger and acquisition. Okay, merger and acquisition. So we have merger and acquisition itself. Merger and acquisition itself. Then we have, okay, so here all you want to know is actually the value of the company. You have merger and acquisition simply means merger means two companies, separate company coming together to become a newly formed company, single company. Okay, they will still maintain the identity and the likes. But acquisition is when a company acquire another company, that company being acquired is now part of the company acquiring it. So that's acquisition. Like when you acquire stuff, it's just direct. When you acquire stuff in the market, it become yours. You paid everything, the value of the stuff. But merger means when two, or when you want to join things with other people, you have share in that stuff. So that's what you're doing. So for example purpose, you don't separate them actually. When an option is just one meaning in exam. Okay. So in exam, we are doing one thing. Merger and action is just one thing in exam. And I'm not saying exam, I mean calculation based now, calculation wise. So you need to learn, there are things you need to learn actually here, like you need to learn the value of individual company before they merge or acquire each other. You have to learn the value of each of these company after merger or acquisition. You have to learn how to calculate synergy. You have to learn the market price, the market value of each of them. So Lazarus, you have question from this topic as number 1. Okay. So also under this aspect of the syllabus, we need to learn what we call corporate restructuring or reconstruction. Okay, so corporate restructuring simply means when you want to restructure a company, when you see that, okay, this company is not doing well financially, okay, then you want to restructure it. Probably you want to settle some debt holders, you want to bring in more equity. So there are different options under corporate restructuring. You want to restructure the business, okay. So then we also have what we call corporate failure. So corporate failure is when a company actually liquidates. So when a company liquidates, what are the reasons why company might liquidate? Poor management is one of the major things. Okay, when you see a business that the owner, you have a business, you have a company, let me say you have a company, the CEO is the father, the accountant is one of the children, then the HR is the wife, the procurement manager or officer is the other son. So just know that when you want to invest in that kind of business, even though if it is not that risky business, there's a lot of risk because these people, their family members, they can just wake up and take decision. You as a shareholder, you go with whatever they think. If you are not a major shareholder, definitely they will have shares in the company, and maybe you just want to 10% of the shares. So all these things, management is one of the major is the general reason for corporate failure. So you have topics, you have formulas, you have a template man model that shows us that when you have a particular level, a particular result, it will tell you, I think it's 3.6 here, it will tell you maybe the company will fail in the next 5 years. you fail or you do not fail, is a good company, all those stuff. So these are the things you need to learn under this topic. Then let's move to their one of my favorite topic. It's not that I don't like others actually. I just see it as a bonus in exam. This aspect forex. If you look at last diet, okay, last diet, I think question number 2 was forex. It was a straightforward one. So under forex you have currency risk management, which we also refer to as currency hedging. Okay, it's all about when you trade in different currencies. Means I say traders is not BTC here. It's not Bitcoin. What I'm saying is that when your company is into you you buy raw material from another country, not yours. Definitely their currency won't be the same with yours, or you sell goods to other countries, So the risk of exchange rate when you are converting one currency to another over time. So the risk from a fixed invoice transaction, that's the right word. What I'm saying is that let's assume January 2023 you enter into a contract to pay somebody $10,000 USD. But the period of payment, when you have to make the payment, is January 2024. But is a long-term project, maybe more than 1 year, that you need to wait for 2023 and pay the money in 2024. So you will have fixed that I'm paying $10,000. Okay. When you check there, maybe the exchange rate then was 400 naira to or let me say 500 naira to $1. So definitely you're going to be saying 10,000 times 500. That's probably 50. Is it 50? Is it 500,000, something like that? So, but due to fluctuation in exchange rates now, as at 2024 January, I guess the exchange rate as at yesterday is 1,450 or something, or 1,004. Depends on if you are buying or selling actually. So when you now convert that $10,000 that you've already agreed in 2023 January to based on the new rates now, you see that you're actually bringing more naira as compared to what you will have paid then. So because of that, you need to learn how to manage your different currency when you have different currency. Okay, and when you trade, when your company is a multinational what's it called, company like Beauty and Co. Okay, so that's what you're doing here. Then I think here under this currency risk management, you have like 10 methods, 5 internal, 5 external. So we also have what we call the interest rates risk management or hedging. Okay, so you have here is just this one. Now you are dealing with interest rates. Okay, not the currency itself now. Interest rates, maybe interest rate might go up or come down, so that's what I'm doing here. Then some textbook we actually bring this international investment appraiser under this topic, under this subtopic, under this what's it called category, because of the fact that you have to use different currency. But we are saying the same thing. So we also have what we call valuation of option, valuation of options. Okay, two major methods is the Glasgow option pricing model and the binomial option pricing model. Based on the syllabus and for example purpose, the Glasgow option pricing model is actually the focus of the examiner. So option in SFM, let me say you are going to be seeing it in 3 different aspects. You will see it in forex, you will see it in business valuation. Yes, one of the method. Then you will see it in investment appraiser. So these are the three categories you're going to see options. So the way we handle options in those three areas are not the same. Option under Forex is currency option. You have option to either convert or you don't convert all those funds. So either sell or you don't sell, you buy or you don't buy, based on if it's going to follow you or not. Then under business valuation is actually to value a business. So you have the option model, which you may actually use the binomial, the Blask option pricing model to do that. Then under investment appraiser is all about the reality of this investment appraisers investment. There are some projects that may take you 5 years. It's not just by drawing MPV table 1 to 5 years. So it may take you 5 years to complete the project. Okay. So the essence of options here is that there are times that you may need to terminate that project or abandon the project after 3 years. Yes, the project is viable based on your evaluation for 5 years, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait to the end of the 5th year before the project will be viable. Maybe after the 3rd years, okay, going to be viable. So you might stop that project there. Okay. Or option to continue a project. You may do a project for 2 years, you pause, the next 3 years, then you continue. Okay. So these are the things that the normal investment appraiser will not enable you to do, but when you apply options to them, be able to do that. We call this type of option the real option. Okay, so let's just we call it real option. Okay, real options. Okay, so these are the topics you need to learn under this. Don't mind my handwriting. It's been long, and aside that, kind of new environment, so still trying to arrange where to perform the lectures. Okay, so this last aspect is the theory aspect. Okay, so let me say this now. When we say theory in SFM, it doesn't mean the A to Z of the topic is theory. Okay, because when we tell you last night question, yeah, a lot of theory came out. It's not the theory you are expecting, like referring to. When we say theory in SFM, we can interpret to two meanings. The first one is a topic that is theory based, like agency theory, CSR, environmental reporting, all those ones, meaning of SFM, treasury function, all those ones are theory based. Then other theory is that under some topics like maybe data factor, you have theory, CV and portfolio theory, you have some theories under them, like explanation or something like that. So those ones, some people will tell you is theory. So when you look at last night question, some of the topics that also have calculation doesn't mean it can ask you theory under them. So if there is theory under them, you have to try to understand the theory. Okay, so we have under this theory aspect, we have many of SFM itself. Okay. I don't think any examiner will ask you that at this stage. Just for the sake. So many of SFM. Okay, so the other one is you have some theories like topics like agency theory, topics like corporate social reporting, CSR, topics like tertiary function. So the list is endless actually, but these are some of the major ones in normal area. So etc. So this is the overview of the topics in the syllabus. Although we also have what we call market efficiency under source of finance. Okay. Okay, so should I say, I don't think there should be a question here because these are just overview of the syllabus. But I don't know, do you have any question? If you have anything to say before we proceed, let's say that before we move into the topic for today, which is cost of capital. Okay, you can mute yourself. So let's just take every 5 minutes to see if you have a question or something like that. Okay, you can unmute yourself and speak up. Then when you're done speaking, you can now mute yourself back. Okay, the floor is open
Hello,
now.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Good
sir.
evening. Yes, sir. Good evening. You can speak.
Thank you very much for this overview.
Please, I'm not the difference between leverage and
Thank you
capital
very much for
structure.
this overview. But I think we should just go to our topic since what we need to do is much and it's becoming late. It's just an opinion, though.
Okay, sir. That's noted. We're about to start the topic for today. Okay. Oh, okay. So leverage and cost of capital, capital structure. They are not that the same. Leverage is you trying to get the gearing level. How many equity do you have? How many debt do you have? But capital structure is telling you that okay, this is the right combination for you to do, which I mentioned about is the optimal capital structure. So the one that will give you the highest market value and minimize your cost of capital actually. Okay, but when you get to this topic, you have a better picture of what I'm always saying here. Okay. So any other question before we proceed? You know, I normally say this. I'm not the one that actually believe in solving plenty questions. I believe in people understanding the topics, the principle, the formulas, the templates, so that when you solve a question, you can go on your own and try to, practice that question. I normally advise students to, before you even start looking for other questions to solve, close your notes, try to practice the one that was solved in class. If you're able to solve it 100%, you're fine. You can now add more other questions. If you have a challenge with that one, try to understand where challenge is coming from. I'm not saying you should go and be auditing. Auditing is when you just hook, small hook where you're supposed to try to reason how to go about it because your note is close to you. You have opened the note. So that's not how to study SFM. And SFM is not what you're going to keep till 2 weeks to exam. You now say you want to go on easy 2 weeks leave or something like that. It doesn't work that way. Okay. All topics in SFM are very important because you don't even know which one is going to be question number one or where the examiner is coming from. You do predict, but it's not the time that what we predict will come out, So that's why it's better to just learn all the topics. And another thing I want to advise is that, let me say this, 1 minute is enough. 1 minute distraction is enough to destroy a whole topic in SF. Like a minute distraction in class. Maybe that's sometimes the examiner, the lecturer will just mention some key points. They won't even write it down. So if you even read material, you won't see them there. But they will mention them, they will explain them in class, that if you have to go and read on your own, you may use 3-4 hours, you won't even get you don't have that understanding. So let's try and concentrate in class. Okay, so I think we can go. We can put it now. Or do you have any other contribution before we proceed? Okay, so let's proceed. Our topic for today is cost of capital. So this is 10 o'clock by my time. By 11, we try to end this class so that people are going to work tomorrow, even myself. You can rest and prepare for sleep so that we can wake up on time and prepare for work. Okay, so cost of capital is the minimum return required by fund providers. So let me just write this. So cost of capital, which refers to as WACC. This is the minimum return required, okay, required by fund providers. Okay, so who are the fund providers, if I may ask? Anybody?
Equity shareholders, the debt provider, bank loan.
Investors.
I didn't get that.
Investors.
Investors. So who are the investors?
The equity holders, preferred shareholders, and the debt holders.
Hey, equity holders, preferred shareholders. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think we can proceed. So this is the meaning of cost of capital. So say this is the minimum return required by fund provider. Okay, so and we said fund providers. I still bring you back here. Let me just say this: fund providers are one, shareholders that we refer to as who? Equity holders. Debt holders and preference shareholders. Okay, these are the categories. Okay, so now that's the meaning of the what's it called, cost of capital. Another thing we need to learn under this topic is the determinant of cost of capital, or we can say factor that influences cost of capital. Okay, the factors that influences cost of capital. Cost of capital. So we have one, we have business risk. Okay, we have business risk. Two, we have financial risk. Three, we have inflation. We have demand and supply, and we have amount of capital required. Okay, so let me just explain each of these one after the other. So we said these are the factors that influences or affects the cost of capital, right? So the first one, which is business risk. So business risk is actually unavoidable risk. As far as you are into that line of business, you have to face the risk. If you are into transportation business, accident is one of their major business risk. Okay, so it can happen at any point in time. That's why we have insurance companies. Okay, so business risk simply means unavoidable is that as far as you're going to the island of business, you are going to face that source risk. Okay, so financial risk is the risk associated with your mode of finance. What are we saying here? If you have debt, if you want to finance a business with debt, there will be covenant on that debt. So, and you have to make sure you abide by the source covenants in case you want to raise any further capital, be it from equity or debt. Okay. Inflation is straightforward. They add inflation, the cost of capital. Demand and supply simply means if the demand is higher than that of the supply, the demand for the capital is higher than the supply, the cost of capital will be higher. But if supply is more than demand, the cost of capital will be lower. And also the amount of capital required determines or affect the cost of capital. Okay. Another thing we need to learn here is the importance of cost of capital. Okay, the importance of cost of capital. Okay, so no particular order. Can anyone tell me, based on the explanation of cost of capital, can anyone tell me the importance? Now let's try and be active. Anybody, what do you think is going to be the importance of cost of capital? So let me just explain this now so that we know what I'm actually expecting us to contribute. Cost of capital,
I think
we said it. Okay.
I think one of them is it helps an investor or a business owner to analyze and differentiate between the business risks and financial risk.
Okay, you're right. It's part of them. So
Um,
it's
sir,
enable.
it is being used by managers to determine an appropriate discount factor to use.
This can you come again, ma?
Okay, sir. I said it's being used to determine the accurate discounting factor to use.
Okay, God bless you, ma. You're right.
It
So it
is also
enables to choose the appropriate discounting factor to discount investment. Okay, or cash flows rather.
Okay.
So okay, let's just this. Then you give us the next one. So it's managers.
It is
Let
to
them finish writing this one before we give another one.
So let me finish writing this one. Thank you. Determine the appropriate discounting factor DCF for discounting cash flows. Okay, another one.
It serves as a yardstick for management decision.
Decision on what, ma?
On the
Yeah, right.
investment they
But
want
So
I
to
it
want
make.
you
helps
to be
them.
specific. We are with you, ma.
Okay, I say it serves as a yardstick to enable management make decision on which particular investment to go on.
Okay. Yeah, but we can still revert that to this discounting factor. Okay, well, we can jot that. Okay, so what I was actually expecting you to say is that, cost of capital, you're saying the same thing, but look at it from this perspective. Cost of capital is the minimum return required by fund providers. So if you are telling me that you want to give me money and I'm going to pay you 10%, it means any investment I want to invest that money on should be giving me more than 10% so that I can settle you and still have something to keep as profit. Do you understand? Okay. So said it
Sir,
serves,
can we say it?
just a minute, sir, as a yardstick. In making investments.
Yes, sir, we can't
Is
see more, but as we are writing, be saying it so that we can also follow in jotting.
sorry. Anyway, it seems you are just joining my class for the first time. I have this principle. If I'm writing on the board, I don't expect students to write. I try to listen and understand whatever I'm writing, be it theory or calculation. The reason is it's never that I can actually multitask in the sense that you are writing, you understand what you're writing. Although, but if you want to go back and read it up, but I prefer students to listen, understand what we are saying, then I'm going to share this note later. So you have the notes. Or else if you can't see one or two things. But your observation is actually correct so that anyone you can't see, if I'm able to dictate or say it out as I'm writing it, you're able to uh, consolidate that. Okay, so we have three. Who will give us the fourth one?
It can be used
Can we
to
say it
determine
enables managers to weigh their options on the type of finance to source for?
Okay, why are you saying that? Because of the cost outside of each of them?
Yes, if the cost is high for a particular one, they might opt for the other one. So you have three sources there for ordinary shares, preference, and then debt. So it now depends on the cost that is involved that will make them to know whether to go for the debt or which other one.
Yeah, right, sir. So how do you say you should put it again?
It
It
helps
helps.
managers to weigh their it helps
Okay, it
managers
helps.
or business managers. It helps
Okay.
business managers to weigh their options.
Okay.
To weigh their options.
Their options. With their options. Okay.
On the type of fund to
On the
types of fund, the type of fund to go for.
Okay, types of fund.
To source for or go for something.
Okay. To source for. They say to source for. Okay, so why I normally encourage people to bring in their idea is because you are the one writing the exam, not even me, not even any of the lecturer. So if you have an idea, if you need to fine tune, you fine tune. If you can write, take it like that, we take it like that. Okay, because when theory comes in the exam, be it theory based or theory of a calculation based topic, is for understand that you're going to put down, and the difference between 49 and 50 in ICANN is not one
Hello,
mark,
sir. Please, I have
it's
one more.
actually
I don't know
a
if I'm
direct.
correct.
Okay, so let me, before you give us that, let me just give you these two very simple and straightforward. Okay, so it is used to determine the gearing level. Okay, it is used to determine uh, the gearing level. So another one, it is used for the valuation of business. Okay, these are the simple one you can actually give examiner. It is used for the valuation of uh, business. Okay, so let's take one more from you, then we move to the next aspect of the topic. We are with you, man.
The last two you wrote, they are not showing on your screen. Oh.
It's network, you see them.
Okay, sir.
So how about determining the debt level?
Sorry?
I said, how about determining the debt level? Does it suffice for the gearing level?
Yes, gearing is more comprehensive than just debt. So
Okay.
gearing is when you tell us your gearing level, we can tell you the level of debt and equity you have in the company. When you say debt level, it's just the debt you're referring to. But we can take that as the same point. Okay. So
Thank you, sir.
okay, I think you're welcome. We are good.
So,
Hmm? Okay, I'm with you.
okay, it's as manager making decision on dividend policy.
God bless you. It's part of it. So those are the part of, because the usefulness of that is that if you plan to pay out higher of your uh profit as dividend, when you need to reinvest, you will need to go and source for fund, and you need of course of capital. Okay, so we can also just thus help in making dividend decisions. Okay, so uh so let me say this before we proceed. We have the rule of work. I will refer you back to this rule, but it's not something hard. Okay, so I know people from different states and the likes are on this call or in this class, attending different physical center. It's normal. Okay, but what we're saying is this: no matter the approach used in your center, understanding of the topic or the concept is very important. And we may write a formula here. Maybe that's not what you have from where you're coming from. There's no harm in you saying you have observation. No, if you can state the one you have there, if it's something that we can explain the reason why it's like that, we have cases like that. Where some people will be like, which one is now correct? We're having two different things. We may be saying the same thing. So it's just actually the approach. So at least all the lecturers on this call have been lecturing more than over a decade of diet. Okay. So we know that's over 5 years. So we know we've gone through these textbooks from different authors, and we see what we can tell them between each of them and the likes. So, but the whole story is principle will not change. Formula maybe one or two or three, but you'll be saying the same thing. So if you think there is one that you think is not like that, you can say it out. So or you can hang on it out and we move on. Okay, so if it's like someone says something, you can speak up, please. Okay, I think we can proceed. So we have the rules of work. when you are calculating your work, you have to take this into consideration. Okay, you use market value. Market value. Who can tell me the meaning of market value?
Current market price.
What it is sold now.
I didn't get that.
As it is now.
Fair value.
Okay. How did you say I don't know?
So I said current market price. Current market price.
Current market price.
Yes, sir.
Current price. As it is now, we are saying the
Yes.
same thing. So what we're saying is, if you go to the
Current
market
market.
now, you go to the market now, the value of the
The
item in the market, that's the market value. Okay. So, but book value is what you have in your book. Maybe probably when you purchase the item, the value at which you purchase it, then that you are still carrying in your book, that's the book value. You understand? Are we together? So we use market value and not book value for the weight when you're calculating work. Okay. The second rule you need to know in no particular order is that you work with X diff for equity for shares. For debt, you work with X interest. Then for preference shares, you work with X preference dividend. So when we get there, you will see what we're saying. Then the last one is that the cost of debt, okay, must be an after-tax cost of debt. Okay, must be an after-tax cost of debt. Okay, so now can someone tell us the source of finance we have also again, so that we can take it from there? We want to enter we want to go into calculation now.
Equity.
Okay.
We have
Sources,
debt.
preference share.
of capital or source of finance now. Source of finance. Okay, we have what, please?
Equity.
And debt.
You have equity. Again, which one again?
We have debt.
Preference share.
Which other one?
Preference shares.
Reference shares. Okay. So each of these items, let me bring out something now. We have, these are the sources. Okay. These are the sources. This is supposed to be up to here. Like, understand what you're saying here. These are the sources. Okay. Then we now have the cost for each of them. Cost. Then we now have the market value. Okay. So what is the cost of equity?
KE.
KE. What's the meaning of KE?
Cost of equity.
Cost of equity.
Cost of equity. Okay, I can see that most people have been going to class. So what I want you to say is that as a shareholders, what do you expect from the company?
Dividend.
Dividend. Okay, you expect dividend. So, but when you are doing calculation here, we now call it cost of equity, KE, which is cost of equity. K is like cost, E is the equity. So, as a debt holder, what do you expect the company to pay you?
Interest.
Interest. So, we call it KD,
AD.
which is cost of debt, which must be after tax. After tax means you say 1 minus T. You remove the tax. The whole cost of debt is just 1. Then you have the tax rate. When I say 1 minus the tax rate, that is always lower than 1 in absolute value, you now get the net of it. Okay. Then we have preference shares. What do we they expect you to pay them?
Preference dividend.
Full interest. Full interest.
Dividends.
Hello, sir. Please scroll up. Please scroll up.
Okay, sir. See better now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay, so preference dividend is what we call KP. So anytime you see us writing KP, KD, KE, these are their meaning. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so now we are done with their cost. Then for equity, market value of equity, we all explain the meaning of market value at that time. So market value of equity simply means we normally represent as ME or MVE. Some people call it VE, MVE or VE.
Of
Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
We are saying the same thing. Market value of debt, some people say is MVD, while some will tell you is VD. We are saying the same thing. Market value of preference shares, MVP or VP. Any question up to this stage before we proceed? I guess there is no question. So let's relax for just 2 minutes. Can take water if you want to take water before we proceed. You want to take each of them one after the other now. Just 2 minutes.
Yes, why are we taking water? You're making us to feel that cost of capital is difficult too. Because that is our fear.
Sir, please carry on, sir. We can take water while listening.
It's not hard. Nothing is hard in SFM. As you can see, the value we did.
Are you serious, sir? Cost of capital.
Nothing
Cost
is
of capital
hard.
na baba.
I didn't say this. Let me say this now. You see, in accounting, we have the golden rule that we call double entry principle. So for SFM, your double entry is cost of capital. Why is it like that? Is that as we proceed, you will see that there are some topics that you may need to calculate cost of capital, even though they are not cost of capital. In short, any topic that has to do with cash flow. So which means all your employee appraiser, capital budgeting, rationing, APV, up to evaluation, even you may need to calculate this guy. So that's why some people tell you it's double entry. And that's why most of the time you see it's part of the early topics we take, so that as we proceed, if I tell you, let's calculate work, you know what we want to do. Just a tabular or table things. People don't want to take water. I want to take water. So just give me a minute, please.
Mr. Brand said we should take water. Let me take water. lọ sọ fún àwọn tó
Oh, I'm back. Okay,
Welcome back,
so
sir.
we've all agreed that we have three major sources of finance. Okay. Under cost of capital, you'll be seeing three actually, but under capital structure, you'll be seeing two. Let me just say this now. And under cost of finance too, you'll be seeing two as a topic, but under cost of capital, you'll be seeing these three. So let's look at each of these three carefully. So the first one is equity. Equity. Okay. Equity. So we all know the meaning of equity, right? Equity is just a source of capital from shareholders, right? When they say shareholders or equity holder, we are saying the same thing. Okay, when you want to look at equity as a topic, like what are the advantages of using equity, of raising capital through equity, or the advantage of raising it through equity, you will learn that under source of finance, not under cost of capital. Okay, what you want to learn under cost of capital is the cost of equity and market value of equity. But the other theory, because I remember, like, was it question number 4 or 5 last night? They're asking you to guide them either to use equity or to use debt to raise capital. So that one is source of finance, not cost of capital. Okay. So let's look at equity. Under equity, the first thing we look at is what? Is cost of what? Equity. KE, which is what? Cost of equity. Let me say this now. Cost of equity is always higher than cost of debt. Can anybody tell me the reason why? Cost of equity is always higher than cost of debt. No matter the textbook you are using, that's what you will see there. No matter the kind of set for you.
Interest
What?
savings.
Interest savings. Okay.
Because they are the last people to always be paid.
Okay. 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 You're on the page. Those are some of the reasons.
Good evening. Because of the risk factor, I think shareholders actually take more risks than debt holders. So cost of equity is much more higher than that of debt.
So risk factor in what sense, sir?
Yes, they take
right.
the business risk because they are the ordinary shareholders are the last to be paid dividend after all the preference shareholders and the interest of the bondholders must have been paid. So, and there's this popular saying that says the higher the risk, the higher the returns. So they are taking more risk in that sense, because if there is any liquidation or any small profit or anything, so they are the one that will bear it.
Okay, so let me say something. You are right to some extent. When you look at the risk factor, in short, SFM, what you're doing SFM is just risk and return, That's why you have forex, you have other things, you have investment. If the return is more than what the owner of the capital will request for. Okay, so the major reason, you are on the track. Even the other leaders spoke earlier on, she's on the track. But the thing is this, you're saying the same thing, but let me tell you what's going on here. Let's assume you have debt and equity holder in a company. Okay. I don't want to go into source of finance. That's why I'm trying to be specific, because there's no way you want to explain that you won't go to a source of finance. Debt holders, if you like make loss, so you will pay them their interest. You get the point? You must settle them. So when you say the risk, yes, they face lower risk. That's why you now go to some extent that, okay, what type of debt is a secure loan, non-secure loan, those stuff. You will see that when you are doing reconstruction, okay, because you have to settle some debt holders and life. Then, when you look at equity shareholders, even no matter the higher the risk, the higher the return. Let me tell you the truth. If there is no profit, there is no profit. If it is loss, it is loss. You hold them no responsibility to pay anybody profit. You get the point? If there is loss, there is loss. If there's high profit, there's high profit. So that's why their own return is always higher than that of the debt holders. You are right, it's the risk. And when you look at your POL, the stages at which you settle everybody, you even settle the debt holder before you even settle government. PBIT, PBT, PAT. You understand? So that's just the whole story. Because you have to pay that interest, no matter what you're going through. Is that you go and borrow more to pay their interest? Doesn't concern them. You're going to pay the money and the interest, the loan and the interest. You understand? Okay, but shareholders, you may invest 100 million and everything is going to like you're going to make loss. It's just the asset you have in the business, then you go again the following year. So, but we don't pray for that actually. So now let's go. I'm just saying this, that when you see that the cost of equity is now lower than cost of debt, you need to pause and look at everything very well. Is it that you are picking the wrong figure? Are you using your own version of the figures, or is the one the examiner actually supplied you? Okay. Cost of equity will always be higher than cost of debt, no matter the question, no matter the material you are working with. And WACC will always be lower than cost of equity, but higher than cost of debt. When we solve a question, you will see what I'm saying. Okay, so cost of equity, now let's look at it. For your ICANN exam, you have two methods of getting this cost of equity. Okay. The first one is, if the examiner says you should use a dividend to get this, if you are using dividend to get this, or if you are using risk, you want to look at the risk model. Okay. So if you are using dividend to get this, we call it dividend valuation model, which is DVM. Is our still together? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Then if you are using risk, we have what we call CAPM, Capital Asset Pricing Model. I call it CAPM. CAPM. Okay. Okay, so now let me say something here. Most of the things I'm explaining here, I'm trying to explain it as a layman so that you can easily understand them. In the sense that I'm not an accounting graduate, first degree, nor biz admin or economics, not even accounting related course. So when they were telling me all these things for the first time, I was just like, wow, let's just be writing. Let's just be writing. And the story SFM is this, is that, is this, is that. I was just like, wow. But luckily with my own efforts, I was able to pass the first sitting, like the first sitting, many times my skill level. But that's not a problem, even though you're not making it the first time. There are a lot of factors. Okay. So dividend valuation model, this guy is divided into two. You have to understand what you have. Okay. If it is constant dividend, like your own company, over 5 years, you have been paying them the same level of dividend, like the same percentage for your dividend. That is constant. Constant. If it is constant, you have a formula for that. And if your own dividend is growing, okay, if it's growing, you have a formula for that. Are you on the same page? So if it is constant, it's very simple. Your cost of equity is the dividend over market price per share. Market price per what? Per share. Examiner will give you a market price per share, or if you need to calculate, if you see how to calculate that, then your dividend. Whatever you have times 100, then you have the percentage. Okay. So if it now is growing, I will write out the meaning of each of these abbreviations actually in the formula. So if it is growing, if there is growth in dividend, that when you check over years, there is difference in either the value paid, like the kobo per naira, or the percentage paid. So we use the one with growth, which is the growing dividend. The formula remains the same, which is DO, current dividend, into 1 plus the growth rate, 1 plus G, over market price per share, X diff.
Please scroll up, sir.
Plus growth. Okay, I'm doing that now. Are we on the same page, please?
Stop
Can you
this
see?
sneaking. Pack these pillows and arrange them here back.
Can we see it, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so before we proceed, before we go too far, can you see these two formulas? The one that is constant,
yes, sir,
you have a formula for it, and I explained that means you will pay the same level of dividend for a long period of time. Okay, but the other one, if there is growth in the dividend, so use this, which is K is equals to dividend, current dividend into 1 plus the growth rate over market per share plus the growth rate. Can we proceed from here?
Bring it down a little bit.
Okay, ma.
Hey. No.
Can we see it now?
For some of us that are using phones, is it not better we slide the phone?
If you are using phone, you can, I think it's better you use Z portrait or landscape. Which one is better? I'm using laptop. I don't know which one will be better with. I think portrait will be better if you're using phone. Okay, so let's proceed. Don't worry. You have the material for the class. Okay. So now dividends, dividend. Now examiner will tell you your dividend is also. Now let me now say something before we go too far. If it is per share, if you are working in units, you work in units. It means both the numerator, which is dividend, and the numerator, which is the market price, will be in units. But if you are working in total, you work in total. If you want to work with total dividend, you work with total dividend, then total market value of equity, no market price again. If you are working with dividend per share, then the numerator will be market price per share. Are you on the same page? The growth rate is just a percentage, so it doesn't affect it, be it you're working in total or in units. Okay, this formula, KE is equals to dividend over market price per share. This is when you're working in units. There are some questions that examiner will give you total dividend, total market value of the company. You won't even have number of shares. If you have number of shares, you can easily divide it to get the units. But if you don't have number of shares, just work with the total. So you can't put total up and you put unit down. If you are putting total up, put total down. If you have to put unit up, put unit down. Do you understand what I'm saying now?
Yes, sir.
Well
Okay.
understood, sir.
Okay, so that's just that. Then now we know how to get dividends. I mean, I will tell you
Sorry, sir, I didn't get what you said about the total now. Sorry, please.
if you are working in total, work in total, both numerator and denominator. If you are working in unit, work in unit, both numerator and denominator. If I want to work in total now, my formula will be KE is equals to total dividend over total market value of equity multiplied by 100. If I want to work in units, my formula will be KE is equals to dividend per share over market price per share XDiv multiplied by 100. Do you understand? So it's just if you're working in units, if you're working in total, don't worry, we see who you want to work with when you say a question. Actually, it's not something hard. Okay, so DO means dividend. Now, this same formula I can repeat it as KE, the one with growth. You see the whole of DO into 1 plus G in some textbook they call it D1 over market price per share plus G. Okay, note D1 is equals to DO into 1 plus G. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so another thing we need to learn here is this growth rate. Growth rate, which we call growth. Before growth rate, let me just write out the meaning of each of this item. KE is equals to cost of equity. G is growth rate. Okay. MPS is market price per share. I think we have everything. So DO is current dividend, while D1 is year one dividend. Okay, so now I was trying to explain growth. You see this growth, this G is because the growth rate. Okay, so sometimes in your question, examiner will tell you the growth rate is also figure, while sometimes you may be the one to calculate it yourself. It's very simple. So this growth rate, if there is past record of dividend, we use dividend growth model. So if there is past record, okay, then if you are given the payout ratio, okay, so past record of dividend, which we now call dividend growth model. So if that is the case here, you use what we call Gordon's growth model. Okay. So if you are using dividend growth model, the formula is G is equals to N minus 1 root. Let me bring it down. N minus 1 root. Where's that eraser? Okay, this eraser. Okay, root latest dividend LD over earliest dividend. Whatever you have minus 1. This same formula in some textbooks, you will see it as G is equals to N
Yes.
root latest dividend Abi minus earliest dividend. Everything minus 1. Are we on the same page? We are saying the same thing. Here, if you are using this one, your n is now number of years. But if you are using this one, it means your n is number of growths. Are you on the same page? Then the other one, Gordon's model, G is equals to RB, which is R times B, where R is equals to return on investment, and B, this return on investment is just what? Is your part over what? Over capital employed, or let me just say earnings per share over the book value per share. Then B is what we call retention ratio. Retention ratio. Okay. Retention ratio, which is part minus dividend over part, or earnings per share minus dividend per share over earnings per share, or 100 minus pay out ratio. Okay. If I may ask, any question for this stage, up to this level rather? Any question? I can scroll up, you can scroll down. Is that a formula thing?
Sir, please scroll up from the beginning of this chapter that we started drawing.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said from the beginning of this chart that I started drawing to show branch. Please scroll up again. I want to look at top part.
Okay, sir. Let me see. Oh, I think it's from equity. It's from where? It's from here.
Yes. I just want to check something.
Okay. Hope you are not jotting now, because I'm going to share this. We have
You're still going to
6
share.
more minutes. I'm going to share the material.
All right, then no problem.
I said just listen, don't write. Oh, I allow.
Okay, sir.
So let's look at, we are done with equity. Let's look at I said something that we are going to be doing 2 things under each of them. Who can remind us the two things we are going to be doing under each of these source of funds? Anybody?
The cost of equity and the market value.
Yes, we're doing each of them. We are going to be doing their cost and their market value. So we are done with the cost of equity. You have two methods: dividend valuation model, if there is dividend, or if you want to use CAPM. Okay, so let me do CAPM. CAPM, according to CAPM, who can tell us the formula for CAPM? AE is equals to
Risk-free
RF
minus equity beta
minus AB plus
plus equity beta
RF
risk-free
RF.
minus
Yeah.
risk-free.
So this formula for cost of equity using CAPM is not that that one is just short.
Why not put BE so that we know that is equity beta, like that B.
Come again, sir.
Looking like this, Joe.
Come again, sir.
So I said in that formula, why not
Yes,
just
sir.
put BE so to show that is equity beta?
Oh,
that
no.
beta, that B.
Yes, let's just leave it like that.
Okay, sir.
It doesn't mean it must be equity beta all the time. It could be better asset too. When you get to beta factor or adjusted VAP, you understand what's going on. If you want to finance the business with only equity, you don't want to use debt, so it's better assets you're going to put there in this same formula. But we are going to be, if you are seeing better equity here, it means the company are telling you that they are using both equity and debt to finance the business. But
Okay,
don't
sir.
let us get into that. When you get to that topic, we do that. So we normally put better there. So better asset or better equity. Okay, thanks for that observation. So now this beta here, okay, let me just name them. Let's label them rather. K is what we already know. RF is
risk-free
rate. That's the return or reward for not taking any risk. That's when you buy government bond.
Yeah, government bond.
Beta, we call it beta.
Coefficient.
Beta factor. RM is market return. While RM minus RF is called what? Market
premium.
of this.
Yes.
Market
Yeah.
risk
Premium.
which is known as RP. So if I now give you RP, that's market risk premium. But give you RM is market return. Or they call it market risk return. Or they say the return from the market. So beta is actually a risk. This beta is a risk. So it's a risk on its own, which is both the business and financial risk, or only business risk if you are doing beta asset. Okay, so let's look at market value of equity before we call it a day. Just my time is 11. Okay. No need to rush anything. Okay, so market value of equity is equals to market price per share x diff times number of what? Of shares.
Yes.
This number of shares is just your book value. Book value over what? over par value. Okay, so this is the formula for market value of equity. So what I was saying the other time, that your cost of equity is equal to either you say total dividend over total market value of equity. This is the guy you're going to use. But we're working in per share, dividend per share over market price per share. Okay. So any question so far on cost of capital or cost of equity before we call it a day?
You talked about book value. What about this par value?
Par
That's the
value
nominal
is
value.
okay.
Nominal
So
value.
they call it nominal value. So
Yes.
nominal value, I will explain what it means. If they are stating your equity in your financial statement, if they say it is 1 naira, at 1 naira, they now put the value there for you.
The face
Maybe 100 million, for example. Now it means if you want to get this number of shares, you will say 100 million over 1 naira. But if they say at 0.5 naira, they now put
value.
50 million.
Okay.
To get this book value, you now say 50 million over 0.5 to give you the number of shares. So
Okay.
this 1 and 0.5, they are the par value.
Okay.
Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Or what we call the nominal value.
Thank you, sir.
But these figures here are the book value. These
Okay.
ones.
All right, sir.
So any other question before we call it a day? Oh, any other
Sir,
question?
Are we
sir,
getting
please
the note, sir?
come again on the book value.
Book value is the amount stated on inside your FS financial statement.
Okay.
So the way they state it, either they tell you as a line item or they put it in tabular form, they will give you the par value. Or they just state it and they will now later tell you the par value. They will tell you the par value later. So it depends on how examiner states it. But we will look at that when we solve a question. Any other question, please?
When are we getting the note, sir?
Immediately after this class, the next 10 minutes, you will get that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, what about the recorded video of this, sir?
Yeah, the admin will tell you about that.
Sir, please, if you have like 5 minutes, can you please run down the formula from up to down? Thank you.
Like I should explain them.
Yes, sir, just for like 5 minutes, just like a summary. This is why we need this, this is why we need this. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, let me take water. So we look at that.
Okay, we are not in a hurry, sir.
There is work tomorrow.
There is work. What is Friday?
If you watch the video, we get the.
Oh well, I can take like just it shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 minutes. Since next class I'm going to start from cost of debt.
Sir, please, can we see the overview again?
The what?
The course overview.
Okay. Let's just take the formula. I will share the material so you can do that from there.
No, just to see, not re-explaining.
Since they will reshare the
When I share the material, you can pick that.
You will send when you send it. Okay.
They will share the recorded video, please, so that we can see it again. Let him just summarize the formula for us. Please just summarize the formula.
Okay. You know why we need to take this very serious? Like, I have to just be treating you people as a baby because this topic is very like you may start coming across them later in future topics. And trust me, nobody will be explaining all of this to you. Just tell you what is the dividend formula for cost of equity. Somebody will give us. We write it out. We pick the variables. We input them. We press calculator. We move on, because that's not what are we even solving. We are solving a different topic, but we just need this cost of capital to discount our cash flow. Okay, so let's just look at it now that we are treating this topic. So cost of equity is one of the source of finance that we are going to be seeing under this cost of capital. So equity, now you have two things you need to learn: cost of equity and market value of equity. Market value is just a straight line formula. For cost of equity, now you have methods of getting it. You have two options. Either it is via dividend, when you are given dividend. Like when you look at the question, you can see dividend in the question. It means an examiner asks you to calculate cost of capital. You need to calculate cost of capital. So it means maybe you have to use dividend valuation model. We see it if there is dividend in the question. But if there is no dividend, you look at the question very well. You don't have any information about dividend. Then you now see something like risk-free, RM, beta. Even when there is beta, when there is RM, examiner will guide you that, and there is dividend. Examiner will guide you on the one to use. Don't worry, we look at a question that captures the two methods inside the question, so that you look at how to go about it. But the truth is, examiner doesn't want to stress you if it is not a cost of capital question on its own. You may be using CAPM to calculate your cost of equity. But I'm not saying that examiner can still ask you to use the other one, the CPI, dividend valuation method, even when you're not doing cost of capital question, the topic. Okay, so dividend method and risk method. Dividend method is there's dividend, then definitely you're going to be doing dividend valuation model. So this dividend model, DVM, you have two options. Let any exam, be it SFM, ICANN, AFM, ACCA, or CFA, when you are doing this cost of equity, it can't pass this. Okay, so dividend valuation model, either it is constant. Nobody will ask you, nobody will tell you this, but we are learning for learning sake. So that when you see them doing some magic, when they don't want to stress you, just tell you dividend is this, market price is this, and like when you are doing some other calculation, you need to get cost of equity, no risk-free, no beta, no RM, but you can see market price, you can see dividend. Nobody will tell you that that's how to calculate it. You just flash back that, okay, constant, there's no growth, so yeah, dividend over market price per share, you get your result times 100. So that's the constant. But if it is growing, you will see two things. Either there is trend in dividend, like 2020, 2021 dividend is given, 2023 was given, 2022 was given, 2023 was given, and now in 2024. Examiner list out all those dividends for you, and they are not the same thing. It's flashing to you that you may need to go and calculate growth yourself, growth rate. Okay, so that's the growing method. Or a nice examiner that doesn't want to stress you, just tell you that the growth rate in dividend is 5%. In that case, you just use that figure. You don't need to calculate anything. So you plug them into the formula. Then this DO into 1 plus D is the same thing as D1. It means I've tried to affect the growth rate of my dividend once. That's why, like, if I have a value now and I have growth rate on yearly basis, if I should affect that growth on that column value now, it means I already have for the first year. So that's why we call DO into 1 plus D as D1. Do you understand that aspect?
Yes, sir.
Okay, before we leave here, another thing you need to understand is that if you are working in unit, you work in unit. If you are working with dividend per share, you make sure your denominator is market price per share. If you are working in total, you work in total. If you are working with total dividend, you work with market value of equity, not market price per share. Okay, so that's that. Then this growth, if growth rate is not given like 5%, 10%, there are two methods. One of them is past record of dividend. It means examiner will list dividend for some past year for you. You now use this formula. Okay. So let me tell you where if you jam a wicked examiner, what they will do to you. Examiner will tell you 2012 dividend is so figure. If you now jump for 2012 and enter 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, you now want to count that, okay, 2020, 2012 1 year, 2021 second year, 2022 third year. It's not like that though. You look at the earliest year, 2012, the latest year, 2024. You now check the year range. Do you understand? To get a number of years. Not just by saying, okay, I have how many dividends for how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not how to calculate it. So that's just the number of years. So here you have two formulas. If it is N-1, latest dividend is the most current dividend. Earliest is the farthest, the longest period dividend. So then when you have that result -1. So if you are using N-1, it means you want to do number of years. So let's look at one example here. If I have 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Are we on the same page? Can we see my screen, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I will continue.
Okay. So if I tell you that this is 50 cover example, okay.
Under this formula of cost of equity, I can see
Yes,
that
sir.
you write D all over MPS. Hello, sir. Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay. You say over MPS. That MPS is a market price per share. So I can see in some textbooks they write BE, market value of equity. Is it the same thing?
They are not the same thing. If I want to work in units, what is the unit of dividend? That's the dividend per share.
Okay.
What is the unit of market value? That is the market price per share.
Okay.
So I want to work in that, we do dividend per share over market price per share. If I want to work in total, I will do total dividend over market value of equity.
Yes.
So that is VE that you are referring to. VE is the total, while market price per share is the unit.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome, sir. It's just like selling price and sales value, or you say your revenue. You have to multiply the selling price by number of shares before you can get the other one. Okay, so don't worry, I will do one small math when we get to market value of equity.
Okay.
Now, so if you have 2021, 2022, 2024, how many years do we have here?
3.
4 years.
4 years, Abi.
Yes, sir.
Somebody said 3 years, somebody said 4 years. Which one should we go with? Or we should just say 3.5
4
years?
2021.
4 years. It's 4 years.
4 years, Abi. So if I'm using the first formula for growth, N-1, the N here is number of years. So my N will be what? 4.
4.
So when you now do 4 minus 1, what do you have?
3.
3. Abi?
Yes.
But if I want to use the second formula, that I said that they are both the same thing, the N here is number of growth. when you want to calculate number of growth, I will say, okay, from 2021 to 2022, I have one growth. 2022, 2023, you grow it once again. 2022, 2024, you grow it again. If you count the growth, how many growths? 1, 2, 3. So 3. Then this one will be 3. You can see we are saying the same thing.
Yes.
So we are saying the same thing for this. Latest dividends will be the one of 2024, 75. So another thing you have to understand, if you are working in error, you say okay, 0.75 because this one is a kobo. Earliest dividend will be the one of 2021. 0.50. And when you do this, you get your result. The same thing for this one.
See your screen, sir. Sir, I have another question, sir.
You can see the formula now. Can you see the growth rate?
Yes, I can see it, but I have a question, sir.
How do you answer?
Hello. Okay, sir. Sir, you made us that time. You said as long as we have 2020, they now jump to like this 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. So we are just going to look at the number of years, that's 2024 minus 2012. That will give us our end. Is that what you're trying to say, right?
Yes, sir.
So now that means in that case now, you are not going to count it like the way we are saying 4 years like this. So you just say 2024 minus 2012 will give you your end.
Okay, look at it. If I have
2012.
2012. Yeah. Abi?
Yes.
Let me use another one. So this is example 1. So example 2. Example 2 now. If I have 2010, for example now, and I have 2021, 2022, 2023. Are you on the same page?
Yes, sir.
This one is not 4 years, so you can see you have 2010 here. And after 2010 is what? 2011. 20. According to the question, it's 20. According to the question, arrangement is 2021. But in reality, you cannot just go from 2010 to 2021. So you have to do 2011, 2012. Okay.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, from 2010 to 2023, how many years do we have?
11 years.
11.
13.
13. No.
13 years.
13 years. 2012 to 2010 to 2023.
13 years.
13 years.
Can I now arrive at that result, please?
That's 2023 minus 2010 now.
If you do that, you are doing growth, number of growth, not number of years.
Okay,
if I'm
that's
saying number
14
of
years,
years,
then
you have to count. You
20 years.
You have to count the beginning. You understand?
14 years.
So, and if you are doing number of years, it's going to be 14 years. So when you
14
bring it to this
years.
formula, it's going to be 14 minus 1. You have 13. But if you are doing number of growth, if you just minus it directly, 2023 minus 10, 2010, you have 13 years. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I think you can proceed then. The other one you have, if you are using this payout ratio, if examiner mentioned in a question that okay, it is certain that profits or retained earnings rather, retained earnings will be reinvested. Once you see them mentioning that, there is very high tendency that if you are going to calculate growth, you are going to use Gordon's growth model. Okay, of course, either you have this figure, examiner can tell you that your ROI is 20%. If you have that one, then that's fine. Your retention ratio is so percent. Once you have that, you just multiply the two. But in case they are not stated, you have to use formula to generate each of them, to calculate them. So your R will be ROI, which is part over capital employed, or that is in total, but in value, it's going to be earnings per share over book value per share. For retention ratio, it's going to be, retention ratio is all about out of the profit, how much are you paying out, how much are you retaining? Okay, that is part minus dividend over what? Over part, or earnings per share minus dividend per share over earnings per share. But if you jam a nice examiner that doesn't want to stress you, you just tell you that the payout ratio is 70%, which means the remaining 30% is the retention ratio. Then you now use this last one at 100 minus payout ratio. Are we together? Okay, so
sir, please come again. What you just said now, please come again, please. What you just
which
said
one, sir?
now. That
The
you're talking
100
of
Payout.
yes. The payout.
I said if you meet a nice examiner, or let me just say, if you are not doing cost capital as a topic, maybe you want to use this knowledge in another topic, they may not necessarily need to stress you through the formula approach of Gordon's growth model for you to calculate your retention ratio. So examiner will just tell you that out of the profit, 70% was paid as dividend. In that case, if you are paying 70% out of your profit as dividend, it means you are retaining 30%, isn't it?
Okay, yes. Okay.
So that's why this last formula, that 100 minus payout ratio. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so you have the other method of calculating of equity, which is the CAPM, CAPE. Is based on this. KE is equals to risk-free plus beta into RM minus RF. So RF is equals to risk-free rate. Now B is equals to beta, which is risk, and RM is market return or market risk return. Then RM minus RF. RM minus RF is market risk return, which we call RP. Now, please pay attention. If you have RP, it means the whole of RM minus RF is what? Is RP. Are you on the same page? The whole of RM minus RF is RP. If you have RP, you will not go and subtract RF again. No. If you have RP now, this formula will now be KE is equals to RF plus beta into RP. Are you on the same page?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So that's that. Then the
What's
market value.
RP, sir?
Sorry.
What is RP, sir?
Market risk premium. Market risk premium.
Okay.
So market value of equity is equals to market price per share x diff times number of shares. X diff means after dividend has been paid. Okay. So that's the meaning. When you multiply by number of shares, you get your market value of equity. So this number of shares is simply means book value over par value. Par value is the unit, the rate at which is what's it called? Each unit of share or the nominal value. Then the book value is what you have in your FS. And to get the number of shares, you just divide this book value by the par value. That's all. So I think we can call it a day now.
Thank you very much, sir.
God bless you. Lord bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
So don't see SFM or any topic in this course as something hard.
Thank you, sir.
As I
God
normally
bless you,
advise
sir.
you,
Thank you.
try
Thank
to
you for
solve the
for
one
us.
that was solved for you in class before you move to solving other questions. Okay, it's because it's based on experience actually. It's based on experience. Experience. If experience I think this is tested work comparison. This is cost of capital. Cost of capital. Okay. Let me save this and stop sheet. So I'm trying to share this on the group so that the everyone was up. Oh. Okay, I think we have two groups now, but yeah. Yeah. So group one, and group two. Okay, I think it's on the group now. Okay, easier to go. But
Is it on the WhatsApp group that you mean?
Yes, the material. But I think it's still loading. It's one drop. It's still loading. It's one drop. Network is very bad though. If not, just megabytes. So it will drop. It will drop. Okay, it's on the group now. So have a lovely night rest.
You too. Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, sir.
Thank you.